Welcome grade 11 commerce. Today we are going to do chapter 7, joint stock company. Let's have a look at the content. In this video, we are going to learn about the meaning of joint stock company and features of a joint stock company. Meaning of a joint stock company. Let us understand now, what do you mean by a joint stock company? Joint stock. Let us first understand what do you mean by joint stock. Joint stock means jointly contributed fund of thousands and lakhs of shareholders. The company's subscribed capital is contributed by thousands and lakhs of shareholders. With these funds, a joint stock company is formed. So we say that a joint stock company is an incorporated association of persons having a separate legal existence with a perpetual succession. Now, here two words are there, like separate legal existence and perpetual succession. We will discuss this point in the features of a joint stock company, but just for timing, let us understand separate legal existence means the member of the joint stock company and a joint stock company, they are totally different from one another. They are different. Their books of accounts are also different. The books of the member of the organization or a joint stock company and a company itself, they have a separate legal existence. With a perpetual succession, that means the continuity of a joint stock company does not come to an end if any member leaves the organizations or any member dies or become incensed or because of lunacy. The company does not stop. The company moves ahead. It continues till it comes to till it is dissolved or comes to an end by law. Its capital, the entire subscribed capital of the joint stock company, is divided into shares, which are transferable from one member to the another member, either the existing member or to the new member. That's why we say the owner of the shareholders or those who are having a shares or those who are keeping the position of these shares, they are freely allowed to transfer their share to a new member or to the existing member with a limited liability. So we say that this joint stock company is an artificial person created by law. Why we say artificial person? Because like human beings, we take birth. Joint stock company does not take birth. It is created by law according to the Companies Act. Now let us know what are the different features of a joint stock company. The first feature of joint stock company is separate legal existence. A separate legal existence means, as just now in the meaning also we discussed, its member and the company is totally different. A company has its own existence. The property of the company, the contract which the company makes, or any other type of file suites which are there, like all are owned in the name of the company. And the shareholders are not the joint owner of the company's property. Shareholders, they are there to share, to take their share in the profit and also in the losses, not in any property or any contract of the organization. So a shareholder cannot be held liable for any act of the company. Similarly, the member of the company are not its agent also. There can be a contract between a company and its member. A creditor of a company is never the creditor of a member. Remember, if a creditor of a company is there, the company is liable to pay all the debts to the creditor, not the member, because members have got a limited liability. So once again, this I say separate legal existence means the company has a separate legal existence which is totally different from its member. Member are separate and the company is separate. Company has its own existence in the eyes of law. It is created by law. And all the property, they are not in the name of its member, but they are in the name of a joint stock company. Let's see point number 2, perpetual succession. Now, what do you understand by perpetual succession? That means the continuity of existence. Perpetual succession means continued existence. That means a joint stock company is a creation of the law, and only law can bring an end to its existence. See, anything which is created by law, law can only bring its existence to the end also. It's not dependent upon your desire, your will, that whenever you want, you can close down. No, it has to be closed down, but it has to be lawfully closed down. So its life of the joint stock company does not depend upon its member. If there is a death of the member, if the member become insolvent, or because of lunacy of the member, it does not affect the life of the company or the continuity of the life of the company. Even if all the members of the company dies also, the another members are there, they take over. So the company exists and continues. So the member may come and go, but the company goes on until it is dissolved or it is owned up by law. So that is what we mean by perpetual succession. That means a continued existence and the life of the company is not affected by the life of its member. Point number 3, limited liability. Now, what do you understand by limited liability? That means the liability to pay company's debt uh, of the members is limited to the share capital subscribed by them or the share subscribed by them. Now, a company, as you know, that has a separate legal identity. Member has separate legal identity. So the member cannot be held liable for the debt of the company. The company is held liable for any kind of debt. So the liability of every member is limited to the nominal value of the share bought by them or the amount of guarantee given by them. Like say, if I have to give you an example, if a member has 50 shares and the value of each share is 10 rupees, so his liability is limited to rupees 500 only. Company may have a liability of say around a crore of rupees, but this particular member has a liability up to 500 only. It cannot be extended more than that. Even if the assets of the company is not sufficient, not enough to satisfy fully the claims of the creditor or to meet the debt of the creditors, so no member can be called to pay anything more than what is due to him. So due to this member is only 500 rupees. However, there is an exception. If the member of the company wants or so desire, they may form a company with unlimited liability also. So this depends upon the choice of the members, desire of the members. We move on to point number 4, that is transferability of shares. Now, transferability of share means like we say the capital of the company is divided into parts. and each part, each smaller part, that is known as your share. So these shares are generally transferable. Shareholders or the members who are holding these shares are free to withdraw his membership from the company by transferring his share to the other. He may transfer his share to the existing member or to the new member. It depends upon his wish, his desire. However, we say that in actual practice, there are some restrictions which are placed on the transfer of share, but there are not much difficulty in transferring of share from the existing member to a new member. So we say the transfer of the shares are done by the members, the existing member of the company to the new member of the company without much restriction. Restrictions are there, but restrictions are very less. Again, I say transferability of share means, that means the share. What first understand what is share? Share means the entire subscribed capital of the company, they are divided into parts, and each parts are known as share. And these shares are transferable in nature. The shareholders, those who have these shares, they can freely withdraw their membership and transfer the share from his ownership to a new existing member's ownership. The ownership of the shares can be freely transferred. Point number 5, common seal. Now, common seal, what is a common seal? Like say, first of all, like say, it's an artificial body. So how it is identified? Like if you must have seen so many documents in your school also, you must have seen a document. So any document which is there, which has got the engraved seal of the company, then only it is called a authorized document or authenticated document. Otherwise, if the seal is not there, the company is not responsible for that document, for any type of claim made on the document. Remember, so being an artificial body, a company cannot act and sign itself. Remember, cannot sign itself. Therefore, what? Any who is authorized person who will sign and put the seal of the company. Therefore, it acts through the human being. Human being. So human being is there, like who uses this common seal. All the acts of the company are authorized by its common seal. The name of the company is engraved in this common seal, and the common seal is affixed in all important documents as a token of company's approval. Remember, the common seal is an official signature of the company. Any document which does not bear common seal of the company, it is not binding upon the company. Company is not answerable to those documents if it does not have that common seal. So this common seal is a signature of the company, since the company is an artificial body. Point number 6, separation from ownership and control. In a joint stock company, there are thousands, 10,000 and lakhs of members in a joint stock company. So everybody cannot have a ownership and control also. The ownership lies with the shareholder, and all this say suppose the company has 1 lakh shareholders or say 50,000 shareholders. So all the 50,000 shareholders cannot go and control the organizations. And they are also, separate, they are also in a different places, in a different corner of the country, different corner of the world. So for them also, it becomes very difficult to control the organization. Therefore, what they do that, they elect their representatives. And these representatives are called directors, who manages the company affairs on behalf of their members or shareholders. Thus, The ownership of the company is distributed among the shareholders while the management is vested in the board of directors. So these are the paid board of directors who manages the affairs of the company, who controls the affairs of the company. Therefore, the management of the company is delegated and centralized to the board of directors. Once again, since there are thousands of members, 10,000s of members or 50,000s of members in a joint stock company, so all they cannot come and cannot interfere in the affairs of the company. There has to be a particular group who has a control or who has a control over the managing affairs of the company. So these shareholders, because they're scattered throughout the country, they cannot come at one place also together. They have their elected representatives. These elected representatives are called the board of directors. And these board of directors, on behalf of the members, they manages, controls the affairs of the company. So that's what we mean by separation of ownership and control. Voluntary association. Now, what do you understand by voluntary association? Joint stock company is a voluntary association of a certain person formed to carry out a particular purpose in common. There is no compulsion to join the organization. It depends upon the wish, the choice of the members to buy the share of the company and become the member of that particular company. Whenever they want, they can leave the company. So that's why it is called like voluntary association. So the members of the company can join and leave it at their own free will. No compulsion is there, like once you purchase the share, you cannot leave the organization. They are free to join the organizations and they are free to leave the organization. So that's what like we mean by voluntary association. The members of the company can join it and leave it at their own free will. Artificial legal person. So as we know that company is created by law, it's an artificial legal person. So it exists only in the contemplations of law. In the eyes of law, it has got its identity. It does not have any biological identity. Remember, only since it is created by law, so it exists in the eyes of law. It is a competent to enter. Once it is created by law, it becomes competent to enter into any contract and to own property in its own name. By law, they have been given this right. But it does not take a birth like a natural person, and it has no physical or natural body, physical body of a natural human being, since it is created by law. So like we have a physical human body, natural human body, and we can also we have a right to purchase some property, or we have a right to sell or buy a property. So since like that, since it is created by a law, it also have a certain right to enter into a contract, to buy a property in their own name, in its own name. So that's what we mean by an artificial legal person. Corporate finance. Now, let's understand the meaning of corporate finance. This share capital of the company is generally divided into a large number of shares, and small parts, they are known as shares. These shares are small in value. Now, why it is small in value? So that any segment of income of people can purchase this share. Even the worker, those who are working in the corporate organizations or the joint stock company, can buy a share. So that's why the value of the share is very low. A nominal price is kept for each value. And these shares are purchased by a large number of people from different walks of life, like we say HIG, MIG, LIG, high income group, medium income group, low income group. So anyone, according to their capability, according to their affordability, they can purchase these shares. So because of this, all the groups can participate in the purchasing of this kind of share. They can afford to purchase this kind of share. A good amount of share capital can be collected to form a joint stock company and become a big source for the corporate finance. Statutory regulation and control, or we say statutory regulation and control. Government, see, since it is created by law, the government has a control over the company. So the government exercises control through companies law over the management of the joint stock company. Now, how they control? Time to time, the company is required to comply with several legal formalities. They have to submit several documents with the registrar of the companies. They have to file the tax. Whatever the tax is due to the government, that also they have to give it to the government from time to time. All the financial accounts, whatever it is there, whatever the company is doing with that. So all the details of that needs to be submitted to the registrar of the companies. So this is how, since the company has to submit several documents to the registrar of the company, the government gives a strong control over the management of the joint stock company. Basic interest of the government is your tax, that they should be paying taxes on time, and they should not do any, or they should not present any false statement of accounts, and they should pay tax honestly. So that is the main lookout of the government, and through the books of accounts, they hold a strong control over the joint stock companies. So thus we come to the end of a joint stock company. Thank you. Take care of yourself.